All right, let's get into coronavirus. For the last few days, I've been more and more concerned that Donald Trump is utterly and completely unprepared to deal with the coronavirus and it potentially becoming a pandemic that will affect the United States as well as the entire world. As of this morning, there are more than 81,000 coronavirus cases that we know of and more than 2,700 deaths. Yesterday, we spoke with a doctor specializing in infectology about the trajectory, prevention, how to manage something like coronavirus. The cases are still mostly centered in China. More recently, there's been a pretty significant uptick in South Korea. Then you've got Italy, Japan, and Iran as of this morning with with more cases than most countries. In the U.S., 60 cases as of this morning. But there is every expectation that this is going to get worse before it gets better. And a presidential administration has a large role to play in managing the situation. We will talk about preparedness. We will talk about who's in charge. We will talk about firings that will certainly be a disadvantage to dealing with coronavirus. And even Republican Senator Mitt Romney is willing to say that the Trump administration is completely unprepared for a widely spread coronavirus in the United States. There's a report that Mitt Romney actually confronted Trump administration officials at a private briefing in D.C. yesterday, as Trump has continued to publicly downplay concerns, say it's under control, it's going to go away. When it gets warm, we're going to be fine. The stock market's going to be fine. The reality is that this is now a red alert. Even Republican Senator John Kennedy, during a hearing, made it very clear that he doesn't believe the Trump administration is even remotely competent and prepared on this issue. And when everything is sport to the president, being unprepared for something like this will lead to deaths. I tweeted earlier today, people who say I'm not into politics, if there's any silver lining about this whole coronavirus fiasco, it is that I hope people who say I'm not into politics realize that politics can very quickly become life and death. Look at Donald Trump's recent tweets, tweeting self-congratulatory pablum, quoting Gordon Chang on the Laura Ingraham show, saying, quote, U.S. acted on the coronavirus very, very quickly, tweeting how great he is doing at handling it. Quote, CDC and my administration are doing a great job of handling coronavirus, including the very early closing of our borders to certain areas of the world. It was opposed by the Dems too soon, but turned out to be the correct decision. Trump is focused on attacking Democrats, making fun of mini Mike Bloomberg, and claiming victory for things he hasn't done, like building the wall, instead of actually dealing with a deadly contagious disease. It's just not a priority for Trump. It's underfunded. Trump has no idea what's going on. So we have a twofold problem here. They are woefully unprepared, but they are also downplaying it for political reasons. It'll disappear when it gets warm, they've been saying more and more. Almost like it works that, like the disease is going to melt or something like that. And Dr. Bogosh told us yesterday that this is not something we can assume, that this will go away when it gets warm in the Northern Hemisphere. We've already heard from Harvard epidemiologist Mark Lipstick, who predicts that coronavirus will ultimately not be containable. And within the year, it's conceivable that up to 70% of the world population could be infected. Now, the death rate may never rise beyond 2%, but when that many people are infected, you are going to have many people die if it gets to that level. I'm not being alarmist. I'm showing that even experts say this could happen if it's not taken more seriously by all government, and that includes Trump. Now, additionally, it's important to look at death rates by age. When you do that, you notice that below age 40, the coronavirus death rate is just 0.2%. Even between 40 and 49, it's just 0.4%. Above 50 years of age, the death rate starts to climb. And of course, if you're 70 or older, or even more acutely, 80 or older, you are the most at risk. That's the case with regular flu. That's the case with pneumonia. That's the case with a number of different conditions. And I've actually seen what seemed to me like horribly macabre arguments that we don't have to worry about the economy because the people of working age are not dying at a high rate from coronavirus. So we don't really have to worry. Can you imagine? And Donald Trump's ignorance and the denials are It's not just a political game at this point. We're talking about people's lives. And after this short break, I want to get right back into coronavirus and talk about who Donald Trump is putting in charge. Hint, it's Mike Pence, who barely believes in science. And then I also, after that, want to continue talking about this because there is a talking point spreading that Donald Trump fired his pandemic response team. And there are a bunch of people saying that couldn't possibly be true, could it? It is very true. It is not only true that Trump fired his pandemic response team, he also reduced funding to the CDC, and it is all just bad. And we'll get to more of it after the break. Make sure you're following The David Pakman Show on Instagram at David Pakman Show. And while you're at it, follow me at david.pakman. Real quick, I want to tell you about a YouTube channel called Upflip. They're friends of our show. You can check them out by going to davidpakman.com/upflip. The link is down below underneath the video. Every week, Upflip publishes a new video where you get to meet an entrepreneur, learn about the business they built, see what it's like to live a day in their shoes in that business. I love learning about small business owners, the steps they took to become successful. That's why I love the content on Upflip. You'll get an exclusive look at some really fascinating businesses. Each entrepreneur has many valuable insights and strategies to share about how to build and maintain a successful company. I would highly recommend their two-part series on lean manufacturing, which itself is a really interesting concept that's all about sort of minimizing waste, maximizing efficiency, and Upflip breaks it all down. You can get to their channel by going to davidpakman.com/upflip. The link is right below this video. Make sure you subscribe to their channel and click that bell icon so you'll be notified when they upload new videos.